I just want to speak about like the role that love affairs and relationships and things of that nature kind of play in our lives and specifically our careers and like the decisions we have to make along the way and the decisions we are exposed to. Because I think it's a very uncomfortable topic to speak about because it's a very emotional topic and it's a very personal topic. And obviously, people have different takes on this matter, but um, I I think that there are certain things I would have liked to hear when I was really young from someone older than me, someone who's gone through certain facets of life. And obviously you can completely disagree with what I have to say and just like go with whatever you have to do. Well, just like go on your own path and just you don't have to take what I have to say seriously on this matter. But I would first like to speak about like the effect it has on our high school journeys. I think, and obviously since I was exposed to relationship in high school, I personally had trouble aligning myself, understanding myself, and being truly self-aware through that thing. And what I mean by that is, and obviously this is such an odd thing that coming out of me. Like when I was thinking about university in high school, like I was truly thinking about going to Australia and like being with this person, like and spending time with this person, even though like I had like a degree planned out in Australia, and like I was searching for universities there and saying, oh, like this university is great, that university is great. I know the opportunities there didn't truly grasp my attention, but it's just that emotion, being so young, that emotion really grabbed my attention and really consumed my mental space so much that I was going to make a decision that was not going to be too great and not going to work out too well for me personally. Um, and honestly, that might be surprising coming from someone like me, because I was very goal oriented ever since I was really young. Like when I was like since I was like 5 to 6 years old, all I wanted to do was just win, continuous, just keep winning, keep winning, keep winning. I've even been the head prefect of school to like all the other things that I did and whatnot. I wanted to constantly win. But during this small segment of my life, I was like very very off character. And I think that's because when you're young, it's very hard emotional kind of double. I don't know. Obviously, our adults make fun of it and dismiss it, but when you're young, I think it's truly a valid emotion. It's just that it's not the most logical way to go about things, because we make very irrational decisions when we are in love or when we are in a relationship, um, to show our affection to the other person. I think I also had problems with like balancing things out, and I think I still do in terms of like university and stuff, because what I mean by balance is like when I was in this relationship, and this is not dependent on the other person at all. I'm not blaming this on anyone. I'm blaming this on like myself and what I had to go through and my circumstances. Obviously, I had a lot of like things on my back and my shoulder and my mind like going on those days, and at the same time, my grades were plummeting down, and like I was just I was not performing. I wasn't winning at the rate I wanted to win at. I wasn't really truly focused on what I was doing. My meaning was based on like that dopamine hit I get from like being around like another person. And I think that makes you very dependent. That makes you very like you rely on this feeling like a lot for your own mental sake. And but at the same time, your true core values start calling you, because you know deep down that you're not achieving to the degree and the level that you want to achieve. Um, and that it just kept calling me, and I just constantly got agitated, and I think I became one of the worst versions I've ever been of myself during those days, because I was constantly getting very sad about things that really like that of me not achieving to the degree I want to. uh, People must have thought I did fine, but like I just felt like I had more in the tank, that I wasn't really putting my energy in the right places, and that affected my relationship, and goes in this entire like really bad cycle that really affects you very deeply, and it also kind of disrupts your relationship in the first place. So none of this kind of ends up good for anyone at the end of the day. Um, and I know that when you see social media, when you see like certain people's lives, I think I think you get that idea that people have everything in order. They go clubbing, they do like their studies, they do um like they have a relationship, they have so many like their social lives are so wild and livid and whatnot. Honestly, I don't have that kind of lifestyle because like and I mean kudos to them, right? They're doing like a fantastic job with that. But honestly, like I don't think everyone should want that either. And I think that's what I mean by being self-aware is that I think you need to truly understand who you are as a person. I think I value myself so much and my journey and my achievements and like my goals so much that I think I even have a hard time prioritizing my health because of that. So I think worrying about someone else's health and someone else's like life is a very tough challenge for me. I don't mind, like obviously like it's different with friends, but I think associating someone to the capacity of like a romantic partner, I think it's a very large responsibility and a large chunk of your time and a large chunk of your emotional like effort that it takes. Like I struggle emotionally with like my career. Like I feel sad and like sometimes even depressed about like my career sometimes. I don't know how I could incorporate another person. And I think when you see all these like people balancing things out and doing other things, I think it's very easy to get affected by it and try to get into this like type of like oh like let's have all these things, and you see a lot of like college relationships like really take off really well, and I think those things kind of influence your mind. But I think if you're like me, you have a hard time balancing another person. I think it's okay for you to understand who you are and like understand that maybe the way you go about life at this stage of your life where you are truly trying to make it might not be the best time to incorporate a relationship. Because at the end of the day, like that's what happened with my first relationship, and that ended. And honestly, to me, I'm so glad it ended on at that timing because I had enough time to reflect on who I was and choose my university in Canada, come here and build a life here and build a new life here and have all those things. I think it's truly fine to um, like make a very selfish decision for yourself, and I think it's truly fine to um, just be on the path that you're on if things are working out for you and in terms of your career, and if that's what gives you meaning. Because I know that my career gives me so much more meaning. I think my career gives me a lot more meaning than a career would give to another person sometimes. And I also know people who like just make their careers their entire lives. But I can't say anything wrong about all those three approaches. Some people make the sacrifice of like oh like my significant other is in another country, and is in this country, so I'm gonna make the sacrifice and go. Am I gonna do it? No, I'm not gonna do it. But someone else would, and that's totally fine. But I think you need to make a decision that you're totally 100% comfortable with, and you are okay to live with like completely. Because at the end of the day, a relationship, the other side of the relationship is that you can also have a breakup. If you're going to a certain location and if you have a breakup there, what do you do? Like your life is like tomorrow is not promised, and so isn't your relationship in some ways. And that's just what I feel. Like nothing is promised, right? So, like for example, if I had made the choice of going to Australia, I think I should be okay with my personal journey in Australia too. But I knew I wasn't, and I'm so glad I'm here, and I'm so glad that I started a completely new life here and a completely new journey here. I'm so glad I had the chance and the opportunity to make that choice. Not all of you are going to have a breakup at the same timing that I had. I was certainly very lucky, and like the stars were in my favor at that time. You know, and this is not me say talking about the relationship or whatever. I was dead sad at that time, and that's for a good reason because that relationship was good to me in certain aspects. But the time when I mean by timing is like I had a very decent chunk of time to like think about who I really am and what I really want to do, and I made a decision based on that, and I have zero regrets. I have zero regrets about my honestly zero regrets about my entire life because things worked out at that specific timing. We aren't always lucky in that degree. So I think I personally think if you make a decision that you're totally on board with, truly on totally board with, where like you speak to yourself about what this actually means to you and why you're actually making this decision, I think I think you're going to be fine. Because I think if you make a decision for yourself, you rarely go wrong. This is like my view take on it, and I think I think people should be okay with like being with themselves and being comfortable with themselves. And I think like the world to me is it's kind of complicated. The dating world and everything is like too complicated. It's moved too fast for me. It's not my kind of thing. If things come organically, like that's great. But like it's not something I'm going to incorporate in my life right now. And like at least purposely, it's not something I'm like really. It's not something I really need in my life right now. And I think it's okay for you to be there too. I think because the conversation, I think people really mix their happiness and like they try to have you know think that loneliness is a causation for unhappiness. Sometimes it might be true, but I think I'm very comfortable in my own skin right now. I'm comfortable with like who I am and who I'm growing to be. I think self development is like the first key for me, where like I truly become a better person and a better professional, and I think everything else will follow from that point on. That's just what I feel like, and I think you need to enjoy your own company and like be okay with yourself first before anything kind of gets attached to your life. Um, so yeah, I just truly think that my message from all of this is that whatever decision you make, even your daily decisions, like you'll have to make certain sacrifices in your life. You'll have to make certain you know like certain sacrifices, certain selfish decisions, or like whatever, to your family or to yourself or to like your significant other. But I think it's very important to understand who you truly are, what you truly want in the life, and make a decision based on those things instead of being affected by the things around you. Because I truly don't think you'll live to regret that decision. But that's just my view take on it. It's your life and it's a choice that you make. And I'm just here to say I'm just here to say this because I wish someone else told me the same thing. So yeah, that's it from me today.